Hi friends, Shalom Aleichem, peace be with you. I'm Ravi Shai, and with me, Rosh Sion. We are speaking about the kosher today, no?
Yes, yes. And we are going to read a scripture from Romans chapter 3, verse 1 and 2. What advantage then hath the Jew? Or what profit is there of circumcision? Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of God. So we see that the Jewish people, they have the oracles of God and the will of God, and there was the author, the writers of the sacred scriptures to reveal God's oracle to the human race. So now we're going to read what the Jews and the oracles that God gave to Israel that they now has handed down to us to learn how to be a holy and a peculiar people, just like they are.
Yes. Today, we intend to explain what is biblical kosher.
Yes.
What is biblical kosher? In our program, we told about the 7 laws of Noah and the 4 laws of Acts 15 that's forbidden to eat blood. And we are trying to explain today and what is kosher or what is biblical kosher, Sion.
Yes. And there's two things. It says in the book of Acts, chapter 15, that they ought to abstain from blood and from things strangled. These two things we got to understand, because some people do not include this as a requirement to verify what is kosher and what is not kosher. And one of the things that we could read in the 7 laws of Noah, when the Lord gave the message to Noah of what, now that he can eat flesh, he gave Noah this commandment with a condition. In Genesis 9, one of the 7 laws of Noah, which the Jewish people teach, and the apostles also gave 4 commandments in the book of Acts, which include that same commandment that was in the law of Noah. Do we as believers abide by this teaching today? And look at it. It's in Genesis 9, verse 3.
9 verse
Actually,
4.
verse 4.
Yes.
But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, you shall not eat. Flesh with life, and which is the blood. So it's telling that the blood of the animal is the life of the animal. And if there is flesh, if there is blood with the flesh, you're eating the flesh with its life, with blood. The blood we should not consume. And how many animals that have been slaughtered with blood inside of it? How many animals that we are eating that died with blood inside the flesh? How many animals that was strangled or that was knocked out by different and was not drained, the blood was not drained properly, that we're eating? If the people that we are buying our meat from does not follow this law or this commandment, how sure and how do we know that we are really eating biblical kosher? How can we know?
So, Sion, I want to read the Acts 15:20 to understand. After we will speak about the details of these commandments. Acts 15:20. We must pay attention because people understand that they don't eat blood. Oh, I don't eat blood. Okay. But let's understand about this. Let's read the verse.
Acts 15:20. But that we write unto them that they abstain from pollutions of idols, and from fornication, and from things strangled, and from blood.
Sion, blood. People normally people don't eat blood. There is some kind of food that use blood, but people understand that they don't eat blood. They buy a meat at the market that has no blood.
And they don't buy blood to eat. They
So-
don't buy blood. Some don't eat
And,
blood.
and the people that we are speaking about are that people that believes in Leviticus chapter 11 and Deuteronomy 14 that give us some instructions about the animals we may eat or not. So we are speak about that animals that are considered clean. No.
Right.
And we read that there in Genesis 9 verse 4 that God forbid the people to eat the meat
With the blood.
with the blood. No? Two things. The laws that teach us what animals we may eat
Yes.
and the blood. Why? Why we must be careful? If I eat a clean meat, I buy at the market a clean meat. I may eat, it's kosher, this clean meat that they sells normally at the market is clean. Is kosher. Is a kosher meat.
The meat can only be kosher and biblically kosher if the blood was drained out from the meat in the proper way, and if the meat was not dead before the blood drained out. It's impossible to drain all of the blood out
After
of
the
the
death
meat
of
after
the
the
animal.
death of the animal. You understand? The animal must die bleeding out its blood. If the animal died before it bled out the blood, it's unclean. If the
Although
animal
the animal is clean by the Levitical 11, Deuteronomy 14, suppose a cow is a clean animal.
This is why they tell you that in we read in Acts chapter 15 verse 20, anything strangled. Why you cannot eat an animal that was strangled, that was choked? It died with the blood inside of the flesh. Therefore that animal is unclean. You cannot eat that animal because the blood was never drained out. If the animal was torn or killed by another beast like a lion or a tiger or any predator, kill an animal, you can't eat that animal. It is unclean because it had the blood.
An interesting thing is that with our people, when our people have the animal, please read Deuteronomy 14:21, 14:29. We are talking about this because some time ago we know people that they were thinking they were eating no blood, but after this Bible study they understood that if you buy a meat at the market, although this meat is considered a clean meat, but was slaughtered with by another way,
Yes. And the
the
blood is still inside.
is still inside. So this
It is
meat
unclean.
is not
Is unclean.
is unclean,
Yeah, it makes it unclean.
and there are some consequences if we as God's people eat this kind of meat. You know,
Yes. Yes. It is a sin.
let us read.
It is, yeah. It's just like, okay, so Deuteronomy 14:21, ye shall not eat anything that dieth of itself. Thou shalt give it unto the strangers that is in the gate, that he may eat it, or thou mayest sell it to an alien, for thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God, and you shall not seethe a kid in his mother's milk. So if the animal died of itself, which means it died with the blood,
Yeah.
it wasn't slaughtered, the blood is inside the flesh. This fits in the category of making that animal unclean.
And in this case, you may give or sell to the stranger, to the Gentile. Why we may give
Because the
them
Gentile
or sell
is,
them?
because the Gentile is unclean.
They are not the nation of
They're
God.
not, yeah, they're not
They
under
don't
the
serve
covenant.
God.
No, they're not holy people. They're not peculiar. They're not holy. You understand? So they don't have. They're already eating these beasts. You understand? This is the food that they eat regularly, but it was forbidden for the holy and peculiar people to eat such foods. And
Okay, go ahead.
there is a scripture in Leviticus 11 also where the Lord said in 44, Leviticus 11:44, "For I am the Lord your God, you shall therefore sanctify yourself, separate yourself, and it shall be a holy people, for I am holy. Neither shall ye defile yourself with any manner of creeping things that creepeth upon the earth." And then he said that he is holy, and therefore verse 46, "This is the law of the beast, and of the fowl, and of every living creature which moveth on the waters, every creature that creepeth upon the earth, to make a difference between the unclean and the clean, and between the beast that may be eaten and the beast that may not be eaten." We need to make a difference between these beasts. And what knowledge or what requirements we have to make a difference is for that beast to be clean, it must be without blood. It must not die with the blood inside, and it must be in the category of what is clean. You understand? And it cannot be strangled, it cannot be torn by another beast, and it cannot die of itself. If it falls into those categories, this beast is unclean and should not be eaten.
I would like to read Deuteronomy 12:23. Deuteronomy 12:23. We are going to see that we can't eat the blood, the meat with blood. Pay attention.
23 says, "Only be sure that you eat not the blood, for the blood is the life, and thou mayest not eat the life with the flesh."
It's clear, no?
Right.
And there's another verse that says that who eat this will be no part of the people, be cut off the people. There's a verse that says that who eats blood, the meat with the blood, must be cut off of the people, no part of the people. But you saw that you may give this to a Gentile. There is no problem Gentiles eat blood, because they don't serve the same God we serve. They are not under the same teachings, the same Torah we must obey as God people. In Leviticus 7, verse 27. Leviticus 7, 27.
"Whatsoever soul it be that eateth any manner of blood, even that soul shall be cut off from his people."
This is a serious problem, no?
Right.
That's why in Acts 15 and the 7 laws of Noah tell us about don't eat blood. But we must understand that we don't have to eat, we can't eat the meat with blood. That's why we recommend the kosher. The kosher meat we may find in some place. Kosher meat, because kosher meat we are sure that
It has no blood.
has no blood.
It was
And
slaughtered.
there is no how to eliminate the blood from this meat we find in the markets.
No, because it was
If we put
slaughtered.
salt, for instance,
Yeah.
it's not.
It's not gonna do it, because the meat cannot die with the blood. As long as the meat die, if the beast died with the blood inside, it's unclean. So there's no way you can take that blood out, because it's just like if it died of itself, It just die natural death.
Sion, I have an opportunity to see. When I was child, I visited a place, and the animal suffers because they do a lot of things, and when they hung the animal and they how to say they
Stab it.
the animal continues suffering.
Yeah, and it's fighting.
And they
for-
start
yeah.
things with the animal and
it's
the
still
animal is alive.
Yeah.
But I saw by our people there in Brazil, the animal dying according to the law, according to the Judaism. And we say that in a few seconds, when the blood is,
Drained.
yes, the animal don't suffer and die in a few seconds. There is a great difference. But we continue this subject in our next program. Thank you very much. You may contact us, and God bless you. Shalom.
Shalom.